What is up? It is Andy coming to you on a Monday, overnight, Sunday into Monday, like Amazon. We work 7 days a week, overnight deliveries. I mean, those overnight deliveries, I know you know what they are, and you get to choose those windows, like, 5 a.m. to 8 a.m. or 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. You really are a prick if you choose the 5 a.m. to 8 a.m. This poor guy's got, oh my God, another person chose the 5 to 8 window. He's up at 4 a.m. and you make him go and get you what? Your Jenga board that you just ordered on there? You couldn't get that at 11 a.m.? No, you definitely could have, and that's what you should have. But that's what I got for you. I got your overnight, early Amazon Prime 5 a.m. to 8 a.m. window, NHL Monday playoff sniffs. When I left you guys on Friday, we were able to nail some strategic unders. We had a couple of under 3.5 goals with a couple of pairs of players on the Carolina Hurricanes. Those all came through. Carolina had a couple of goals, but we avoided the most likely players to find the score sheet, and we found strategic unders, and they're under 3.5 goals. That's what it's going to be from here on out. We had a full season of line combos, overs. I'm that kind of guy. When I was at work in an office, I'd order the same exact dinner for like 48 straight nights. I don't even have to add it back to the cart, order it. That's my dinner for the night.
Okay, why? What's your matter? My pizza's no good?
Then when I'm done with that, I find a new dinner. Yep, next 30 nights, I'm ordering the same exact dinner.
And chicken cutlet.
So that was the first meal, all overs. Now that we're in the playoffs, it's all strategic unders, and you're only going to see them hit at a higher rate the later we get into round one, and definitely in round two, and absolutely round three, and of course, round four in the Stanley Cup Finals. And we're going to continue with that tonight. It's going to be no different tonight, starting in Florida, where you have the Battle of Florida, where the Tampa Bay Lightning have now made this a series. It's 2-1. It's game 4 in Florida tonight. And don't look now. Connor Hellebuck is awful once again in the playoffs, but don't look now. Andrei Vasilevskiy in back-to-back games has conceded only 1 goal. And typically you'd think, oh, well, we got to go all on the Lightning, right? I mean, he's on one of these runs. I've never seen a team like the Florida Panthers who's able to win a game at the frequency that they do in the playoffs, scoring 2 or fewer goals. It's not just like once or twice. It's every other game in the playoffs. It's unbelievable. Like if you saw game 2, it was a 1-0 game, and then they added in an empty netter. If you look at previous playoff years, look at last year, the series versus the Rangers. Do you know how many times they beat Igor Shesterkin in their wins? Game 1, they scored 2 goals on Shesterkin. They lost the next 2 games. Game 4, they scored a 3rd goal in overtime, so it took 3 to win. Game 5, they scored 2 on Shesterkin, won that game. Game 6, they scored 2 on Shesterkin and won that game. 2 goals was all they were scoring, and they were able to get all those wins. How about the conference finals the year before that? 2 against Carolina, 1 against Carolina. They can win games scoring only 1 or 2 goals. So while I think Vasilevskiy will continue this hot stretch of play that we've seen really start to kick in midway through that last game, you know I like to ride Vasilevskiy when he's playing like that. It doesn't necessarily mean they're going to win, but what I'm trying to do here is take the Florida Panthers, just like I did with Carolina on Friday. They're under 3.5 goals. And we're going to take that because obviously it's a price that you guys don't like, and we're going to find other things to pair it with. We can start right there in that game, the same way we did the under 0.5 point for Jesperi Kotkaniemi and Taylor Hall and put it with that under 3.5. You can do the same exact thing and take the under on Brad Marchand and Anton Lundell. These last 2 games, they got nothing. I think they combined have 1 point in the entire series. When Vasilevskiy's playing the way he does, those 2 guys are on line 3, power play 2. For a team that's not putting a ton of pucks past Vasilevskiy in these last couple of games, I'll take my shot under 3.5 goals. How about the under 3.5 goals with the over on saves for Andrei Vasilevskiy, which is another play that I do like in this, because the Panthers, coming off that loss, trying to reestablish dominance that they showed in those first couple of games, that's going to come with throwing a ton of pucks to the net. So I like the over on saves. It also makes sense. If the Florida Panthers are held under that team total, it means either they're trailing or it's a close game, which means they're firing a ton of pucks to the net. We know this game's going to be played at home. I imagine they're going to be able to pile up a lot of shots in this game that I think they're really going to push to try to win. But I'm going to go under 3.5 goals with the over on saves for Andrei Vasilevskiy. And yes, by default, that means I also like that game to stay under 6.5 goals. I will take that under 6.5 and combine it with the Nick Paul under 0.5 point, which should give you about an even money bet. I strategically try to take the guy least likely to register a point. You're looking at line 3, power play 2 for the Tampa Bay Lightning. That seems like a pretty decent bet to be the guy who stays off the score sheet in what should be a low-scoring affair, in my opinion, if you see the way this series is going to trend towards the back half of the series. So under 6.5 with the under 0.5 point on Nick Paul. But that's not it. We got some trickle-down snakeonomics. During the season, we always look for guys who are getting promoted. Line 1, power play 1, we got to take him. You got that Jackson Blake kind of player. You got Alex Iafallo. Those are always what we're looking for. Now, come playoffs, I always look for, all right, who's getting demoted? Who's getting sent down? I want his under. And for the Florida Panthers, we saw that with Samoskevich. Went from that second line playing with Bennett and Tkachuk, and on that top power play playing with Barkov, Reinhart, and company, down to line 4 and power play 2. So that's an under I absolutely am going to have on my card. I think that's a pretty decent price when you're looking at playoff unders, but obviously I know you Pirates, you need something else to take it with. Well, I see another guy on the slate that I like for an under, and that is none other than Jonathan Drouin, who's been sent not down to line 2 where he was with like Brock Nelson and Nichushkin. Now he's down on line 3 with Charlie Coyle, because obviously we saw Landeskog have that big game in the last game. So I really like the under on Jonathan Drouin in a game that's going to be in Dallas, and he's not getting that power play time, because you can look at his points earlier in the series. He just got a scam outside assist on the power play. That can always happen when you're on power play 1. But if you're not on power play 1 and you're playing on that third line with Charlie Coyle, I really like that under 0.5 point. So him and Samoskevich together, I think that's a pretty good way to go about it. And I do want to mention, if you want to shop at the over store because you can't stop yourself, you're just a classic 9-to-5 only click over gambler, then the guy that you would want is Carter Verhaeghe. He's back up on that top power play. He's already playing with Reinhart and Barkov. You can't be in a better situation. You look at Reinhart and Barkov, look at their point prices, look at Carter Verhaeghe's point prop price, and he's clearly the one you would want to take. And he's so easy to stack with those other two if you want to go that route. So Carter Verhaeghe is a good over. I'm not taking it. I'm not taking overs during the playoffs. You do whatever you want to do. I'll do what I'm doing with the unders, and we'll see at the end of the playoffs who fares better for like the 5th, 6th, 8th, 20th straight year. So that's what I'm going to be doing there in that game. We obviously have the Jonathan Drouin under, and now you're probably thinking, oh, but did you see those Colorado Avalanche last game? Yeah, that's pretty much the Colorado Avalanche that people would pick to go to the Stanley Cup. The problem is in the previous game, they were held to 1 goal. They lost to this Dallas team who, you know, they play Colorado pretty tough. And I think the price that you're getting on Colorado, like if you're a money line donkey, I just don't know how you can do it with any sort of confidence. Ottinger's playing incredible. Dallas is going to be at home, and you're going to go in there, pay minus 170 for a road Avalanche team against a team that was favored to win the Stanley Cup toward the end of the year, and even right before this series started, before the Robertson injury. So I don't know, that's just an awful value if you ask me. And if you need one more thing for that game, right in line with everything I've been saying, it's a game 5. The penalties will start to come down, maybe 2 for each team. It's a huge game with essentially, in my opinion, most of the series on the line. Colorado can win game 6s and 7, but whoever wins this game has a obvious advantage going on to the next round. So a ton is on the line, and if a ton is on the line and you're showing me a 6.5 as the under, I'm going to take it. I'll go under 6.5 in this game between the Colorado Avalanche and the Dallas Stars. And that is what I have for you on Monday. A whole assortment of unders, diced up in a way that I deem most optimal. So, as I like to say, good luck to you. Better luck to me. Make sure you're subscribed here to the YouTube channel if you want more videos, more all sorts of things. If you want additional sniffs, any sort of info, you want to be in the chat rooms talking to the other sniffers, you want Josh's MLB picks, which he gets out bright and early, that's available over on my Patreon. It's patreon.com/Andy Francess, where all you guys get to be minority owners of this show. You're the lone sponsors, who I am truly appreciative of, but I am still happy to talk all sorts of trash to. So I hope to see you guys over there. If not, I will see you tomorrow for another round of NHL Sniffs. Take it easy.
Don't be a donkey. Like the video, leave a comment, and then you can go off and be a pirate.